Hey guys, my name is Nick, and today I'm going to be doing a 3-gallon Brew bag. The recipe is going to be a clone of Deschutes Red Chair Northwest Pale Ale. So let's go and get started.
For this you will need a medium-sized mesh nylon bag. The size that I used happened to be 21 by 23 inches. This recipe calls for 6.8 pounds of US 2-row, 10 ounces of Cara 75, 5 ounces of Cara 20, and 4 ounces of both Munich and Vienna malt. I started with 0.85 ounces of Centennial, followed by a 15-minute addition of 0.4 ounces Cascade, and a flame out addition of 0.3 ounces Cascade. Whatever hops I don't use, I just throw into a plastic bag and toss to my freezer. In order to get more efficiency while brewing in a bag, you may need to double mill your grain. Most homebrew stores would be happy to double mill your grain. All you have to do is ask. Passing your grain through the mill more than once will get you a finer crush, and it will allow the enzymes to have more access to the starches. The downside of this, however, is it will crush the husks of the grain a little bit more. However, since we're not worrying about sparging or rinsing the grain, it won't be an issue. I collected 4.75 gallons of tap water and heated up to about 158 degrees Fahrenheit. Getting the grain into the bag can be kind of tricky. Here I just wrapped the bag around the top of the bucket and flipped it over, pouring all the grain into the bag. While your sparge water is heating up, it's a great time to calibrate your thermometer and hydrometer. Here I carefully add my grain bag to my boil kettle, making sure not to splash or move the water too much. I give it a nice healthy stir so the enzymes can do their thing. I overshot my mash temperature by about 2 degrees, so I lifted the bag out and placed it back in repeatedly to help cool it off. I threw in about 5 ice cubes to bring it down to 152 degrees. I made sure to stir and check temperatures at least once or twice every 10 minutes. I hit my boil gravity 30 minutes into the mash, so I decided to cut it short. I slowly pulled the grain bag out of the boil kettle and put it into a stainless steel bowl off to the side. Sweet wort will continue to drain out of the bag, and I'm going to throw this back into the boil kettle once it's done draining. I cranked up the temperature and added my first hop addition, 0.85 ounces of Centennial. As my wort's heating up to a boil, I try to clean as much as I can, so I rinse out the grain bag and I scrub down all my tools. I finished up my hop schedule with 2 more additions of Cascade, one at 15 minutes and then one at flame out. I then proceeded to force chill my wort, and so what I do is I just cycle out my tap water inside the sink and then I rest my kettle in there. It tends to work pretty quickly too. I was able to get it down to about 100 degrees within 10 to 12 minutes. Of course, since we're on the cold side of brewing now, sanitation is of the utmost importance. So I went ahead and sanitized my bucket, lid, and airlock along with any other tools that might touch the beer. Mesh bags are super easy to clean. Just dump them out really quick and then let them dry. Once it is, the grain will just dust right off. I chilled my wort down to about 110 degrees and then added it to my fermenter. I could have gone lower, but I didn't want to waste any water, and I ended up waiting a few hours before pitching my yeast until it was cooled down to about 65. I pitched a single packet of US 05 into the cooled wort and let it ferment for about 2 weeks at around 67 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Once I pitched the yeast, I just returned the lid back onto the bucket and then shook it vigorously in order to aerate the wort and to keep the yeast nice and happy.
Awesome. 3 weeks later we have beer. I threw it in the keg really quick and I'm ready for my first tasting. Let's do this. It's pretty good. It's definitely fruity. It is kind of on the sweet side. It finished at like 10:18 when it was supposed to finish at 10:14. And so knowing that next time I brew, I might mash a little bit lower, and then I would definitely dial back the crystal malt. The hop aroma though is almost on key. You get a lot of the Cascade, which is delicious. I would also probably up the dry hop and the flame out additions just a little bit. So when I post the recipe down in the description and when I post it on thunderdogbrewery.com, I'll definitely update the recipe. And so it'll be a little bit more accurate to the Red Chair clone. But yeah, all around, it's a really good beer. Now, if you're interested in brewing a bag, feel free to head down to the description. There's going to be a discount code for NorCalBrewingSolutions.com. They have really high quality ingredients, a lot of custom made parts, which is really cool. And they also have the nylon mesh bags, the exact same one that I used. So feel free to hop down there, get your hops, your malt, your yeast, all that good stuff, and then get brewing.